I want to say a big, warm welcome to all the participants in today's conference. Children today have the advantage of having more foods available than ever before. We know more about nutrition than ever before. But unfortunately, sometimes what children actually eat is not as healthful as it should be. And that's because there are also more unhealthy foods available than ever before. So we need to really help them. So what to eat and what to avoid? The foods that are healthful for children, I think of them as being in 4 groups. We refer to these as the new 4 food groups: vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and the bean group, or you might call it the legume group: beans, peas, and lentils. These 4 groups together provide plenty of protein. They provide plenty of calcium and iron. They are very rich in vitamins and in minerals and lots of healthy fiber. They don't have any animal fat. They don't have cholesterol. They are a good recipe for good health. The most important thing, though, for children is not just to eat foods that keep them healthy while they're children, but it's to learn good health habits, good eating habits that they can carry with them into adulthood. If children learn healthy eating right from the start, they carry a wonderful gift with them, and they're better able to take care of their own families when they're adults. Well, I have to say, some of the very foods that I grew up with are perhaps the most important things to set aside. Meats, dairy products, eggs. These foods have cholesterol, they have animal fat, and these foods cause a lot of problems. First of all, these foods are linked to heart problems. If you could look inside the arteries of a typical American boy or girl before they've finished high school, many of them have the beginnings of heart disease already. They're only 15 or 16 years of age, but because of all the meat, cheese, other dairy products, and eggs they've been eating, unfortunately their arteries are starting to get clogged. Over the long run, though, these same foods increase the risk of cancer, particularly breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer. These things are much less likely to happen on people who are following totally plant-based diets. And what has the children themselves worried, and their parents worried, is that kids who eat a meaty diet tend to be heavier than other kids. Now, many well-meaning parents will say, we want our children to drink milk or eat meat. What they're thinking of is maybe this will help their kids to grow taller or to be stronger. But I have to say, researchers have looked at this very question. And children who eat meat and dairy products are not any taller than other kids. What they are is wider than other kids, meaning they are more likely to be overweight. Researchers have looked at thousands of children and shown that those children who grow up on a totally vegan diet, meaning a diet with no animal products at all, they're just as tall and healthy as other kids. In fact, they are healthier, but they're more likely to stay in a good, healthy body weight. In many countries throughout North America, South America, and particularly today throughout Asia, we are seeing an explosion in meat intake, in dairy consumption, and so that means more and more farms are springing up, and the population overall is less healthy than it was when more healthful plant-based diets were the norm. If this trend continues, what we will see is not only more influenza outbreaks, we'll see more heart disease, much more cancer, and shorter lifespans. What this means really is a tragedy, that people who wanted to live a long, healthy life and to bring up their children to be able to live in as healthful a way as possible will never be able to realize that dream. And it's because we bought into foods that have lurking in them cholesterol, animal fat, and other problems that really can exact a terrible price that nobody was counting on in advance. Let me also say a word for parents, teachers, other people who are involved in schools. Schools have sometimes had trouble really serving the most healthful foods. Many of them have perhaps had a misimpression that they need to give children milk in school or need to give them meat. Schools in the United States and some other places on the globe are now featuring healthy, completely vegan meals for children because they realize that when you don't provide the milk and the meat, kids do much better. They're healthier, They're less likely to come up with infections. I'm thinking about things like ear infections, asthma, and other problems. They are more likely to stay in a healthy weight, and they are less likely to fall asleep in the afternoon. I have to say, when kids get a big, greasy, sugary meal, it's pretty hard for them to stay awake in the afternoon. It's hard for them to concentrate. And on the other hand, when children are fed the most healthful meals, they have the energy and the attention span to carry them all the way through the day. So in conclusion, when we think about our children, they are our most precious resource. And unfortunately, the pressures on parents, on teachers, and on the kids themselves are more intense than they've ever been. There are more and more businesses out there trying to sell unhealthy food, and we can understand why that is. But to the extent that we can put healthy foods on children's plates, if we can have policies in our government, if we can have practices in our schools, that every child, no matter how disadvantaged, has the ability to have a healthful meal every single day, we are going to be investing in the health of the next generation. I thank you so much for helping us all to do that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.